Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Hometown Heroes podcast with your host, Thomas Fallon. Today, we have DJ, entrepreneur, and father, Mick Batyske. Thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Hey, thank you for having me. Thank you for pronouncing my last name right. Nobody ever gets that right. So I love this interview already.
I practiced it so I could get it down.
Nice. That's amazing. That makes you're more professional than I am. I never have done that. That's awesome.
So, talk about, growing up in Youngstown, what that meant and your early passion and love for music.
Sure. Growing up in Youngstown was interesting because, just growing up in that region in general, musically, I was inspired by a lot. Growing up loving hip hop specifically, because it was the Midwest. Like you weren't subscribed to one coast. And hip hop at that time was very regional. And so like New York people only listened to New York stuff, and LA people only listened to LA stuff. But being in Ohio, we weren't biased. So you could listen to Dre and Snoop, and you could listen to Biggie and Nas and Wu-Tang, and you could listen to like Outkast, and you could listen, and then obviously then and you could listen to all this stuff from Chicago and Detroit, and then Cleveland came out with their own sound, and it all kind of like was a melting pot of everything mixed into one, and it was really cool to just get all the different music without the biases.
Mm-hmm. So what was that point in your career where, you knew you wanted to become a DJ? I know you attended John Carroll and, you planned out a marketing degree and stuff like that. So talk about that.
Sure. I always knew I wanted to DJ. I didn't know I was gonna like grow up and like become a DJ as like my job. I didn't know that until like I was way after college. But I remember when I went to John Carroll on the college tour, seeing the radio station and looking through the little window and seeing the little glass window and thinking I want to do that. And that wasn't like DJing, performing per se, like college radio. But at the time, college radio, the internet was just invented. There was no like blogs, and there were no like places where you could leak music or get music. So college radio was really what a really good Spotify playlist is now, as far as like determining what's new, And so it was very exciting to like, so I chose my school based on the fact that I wanted to do a radio show there. Plus it was a good school, and and I was lucky to get in. But that kind of ran parallel with getting a marketing degree. And then my DJ career started taking off. I used all of that to put myself back in school, get a master's, get an MBA in marketing, and then I finished that. And then at that point, I had to make a decision. Like, do I want to just like go straight corporate America, or do I want to keep doing my little version of this? And I went this way.
Mm-hmm. So you talk about how in a recent interview, people are scared to get up and chase, their dreams. So, what was that call for you, to become a DJ? I know you just talked about it briefly, but, what was that call for you?
I just love music, man. There wasn't really one call, per se. I grew up playing piano and playing drums. And so like when I discovered I discovered hip hop like at the same time I was discovering those. But when I started to realize those musical skills would allow me to easily become a DJ, because it's like the same skills. Like if you play drums, you could probably mix records. And if you play like piano, you could probably like scratch and do all sorts of things with your hands, because it's a similar dexterity. It's a similar skill set, just applied in a different way. I don't know if Mozart would agree with that, but like I could tell you that it works, and so for me, it just naturally developed, and it was just always a thing that I thought would be part of my life, just like music in general, whether it was like listening to music, playing music, or DJing is kind of both, right? You're kind of playing music and listening to music at the same time. So then it just gradually rose in prominence of priorities to me, because became even more fulfilling creatively, and it became more fulfilling economically to the point that I could sustain an existence doing it.
Right. Talk about your experience being the DJ of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh, that was a fun era, man. Like I did that for 5 years, maybe. Yeah, I think like 03, 04. I started when LeBron got drafted. I made them a PowerPoint. Like I wish I still had it, like a Microsoft PowerPoint of why they need a DJ at their games, and sent it to like the Cavs like CMO, And I don't remember her name, but somehow I got through to somebody, and it worked. And but I was also really relevant in the scene at that time too. I was doing all the clubs, and I was on the radio every night at 9 o'clock on a commercial radio station. So it wasn't just like some college nerd guy sending him a pitch deck. I had both sides of the fence, and combined, that got me that job, and that was one of the reasons I was able to propel myself from Cleveland to New York with some of the relationships I made through that era.
There's a quote that I got from you. It says, I can go into a room with a bunch of business people and somehow convince them that what I do is beneficial for their brand. It's been very easy for me to wear both hats. So, you talked a little bit about, that PowerPoint. Talk about, what that quote means to you.
I mean, it's just a duality. Like I always was the most creative, cultural guy on the business side, and I'm probably the most like nerdy, businessy guy on the cultural side, the creativity side. So I just live at that point in between, and it works for me. I'm really lucky in that regard. Now, where that sucks, that sometimes is like you have to to be able to live convincingly in the middle. You kind of have to give up a little bit on the fringes. So has some of my business acumen suffered because I wanted to be true to myself creatively? Yeah. Has some of my creative talents suffered, and have I not become as good artistically as I could because I had to apply some of that energy to the business side as well? Yeah. So I could probably be a much better DJ if I didn't care about making money. And I could maybe have probably made a lot more money if I didn't care about the art, but I care about both, so like I live in that gray area, and but it's a great area to live in.
Making that jump from, Cleveland to, Brooklyn, New York. Talk about how much, fear that brought, and, how, you wanted to go about doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to do it since I was like way younger. I did it at 30. I made that jump at 30, which is, how old are you?
I'm 16.
Okay. Yeah. So like double your life, right? So think about that. Like it seemed at the time, it seemed really early in life to make that ballsy of a move, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it really wasn't. Like I was can I cuss? Well, I was like a fucking grown adult, Like I was just like, I wasn't like a kid. Like in my mind, I was a kid because the world was different. This was like 12, 13 years ago. Like, the world has grown up a lot with social media, with everything else. It's like everybody gets access to everything at the exact same time right now. So like, the 12-year-old's getting the same information, music, movies at the same time as a 60-year-old. It's just not like, where stuff is like parsed out like generationally, where like if you were 8 to 12, this is what you did. If you were 12 to 16, this is what you did. But if you're 16 to 20, this is what you did. Like it was now everything, young kids are into old people stuff. Old people are much more skewed younger. Like everything is a much more of a melting pot, right? So for me, when I was 30, I was still like in my mind like 22, right? But I wasn't, and so when it's mind blowing to me that like I did that at such a old age, because I think the better thing for most people who make those big jumps, they do it early. By 30, a lot of people are like, they're starting families, they're doing things, they're kind of set into what their path is going to be. And for me, I wasn't, so I made that move, but it is funny in hindsight when I look at that I did that so late in life. But then again, now I'm 43 and I still feel like I'm 25. So I don't know. It's kind of the same.
Mm-hmm. Has there ever been a point where, you play this song or this type of music and you get a bad response about it?
Yeah, like, every DJ plays the wrong song sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes play the wrong song intentionally. Just like, if somebody pisses me off and I just want to piss them off, I'll play the wrong song just to because I know they won't like it. But I think there's a psychology to playing music the right way, right? And there's two ways to look at that. You could play, sometimes you play the wrong song just because you play the wrong song. Like it could be a song that you just love and think it's amazing, and you play it and it just doesn't resonate. That's happened to me a few times. It happens to everybody. But, as a DJ, you're not just supposed to play the songs that everybody is going to like, they know. You have to at least throw some other stuff in there to make it personalized, right? Or else you sound like everybody else. Like at any given time, if you walk into any club in the world, there's going to be like the same 10 rap songs that are current that they're going to play at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and everybody's going to know them, right? So what makes me different than you and the other guy and the other guy and the other guy, and what makes them different than me is what are the other songs you're going to surround those 10 songs with to make them sound different or make them sound unique to you? Like, am I going to play the sample from one of those songs before it? Or if I'm playing like a Drake song, am I going to play like 2 or 3 other Drake songs around it that kind of sonically sound like that? Like, how am I going to do that to make it sound different? Because we're all going to play those same 10 songs. If you don't, you probably don't know what you're doing, right? But so when I know we're all going to play those same 10 songs. So for me, it's just like, how can I creatively express those differently? And I also think, to your point, and I don't know if this is going a little too deep, but like musically, what a lot of people don't realize, and you could, if you think about this, when you go to any concert, or I guess we're in a pandemic, so you just like watch a concert or whatever, like when you see people perform, right, they don't just do their biggest hits all in a row. Because if you went to like, I don't know, any genre, I mean, this goes back to the beginning of time, dude. This could be like classical music in like the 1800s. Like, you can't just do your 10 biggest records in a row or 5 biggest smashes in a row, because it's cool if it's the Grammys when that's all people are doing, because that's what you expect. But even that, you have to build in ebbs and flows, or else what happens is you get, you flatline, and things don't resonate. So if you went to Cedar Point and you went on a roller coaster and you went up the hill, right? And then you went like super high. You were just like the highest roller coaster ever been. You're like, geeked, I can't believe I'm this high. And you just stayed up here for like 10 minutes. Like, part of you for the first 2 minutes would be like, holy shit, this is really high. This is awesome. Like, this is great, blah, blah, blah. But then eventually you're just gonna be like, what's okay, it's great. We're still high. And then after 10 minutes, then you go down the hill and then you're done. Like, that'd be fun once, and it would kind of suck, right? But like, and that's what like, why, if you see a band who does that, or a DJ does that, you're losing the whole emotional aspect of what it is that you're doing, and it's something we all screw up when we start. You don't know. You just want to play this stuff. You gotta go this, and then down the hill, up the hill, and then down the hill. And then maybe you don't need to go all but it can be like this, like this, like this. Maybe one time you go down here, but because you got your mega hit and you're gonna come back. It's like a graph, because the highs are gonna seem. It's really like life, right? Like, if you had nothing but good days, like, that would actually kind of suck, because you wouldn't even realize all your good days are good days. They would just be like days. You need to have, like, I just like took that COVID vaccine yesterday morning. I was a wreck. I was out for like 18 hours. Like, I couldn't even move. And I feel great today. Actually, I don't feel great today. I feel like just okay today. I'll feel great tomorrow, but I always feel great. And getting that was like mind blowing to me, because it just made me like realize how great I actually normally feel. Like, tomorrow I'm going to go for a run and I'm going to be like, wow, and the grass is going to smell greener and the sun's going to feel better because I had like that dip. And it's the same thing with music. And it's, honestly, dude, it's the same thing like with life. I tell my kid this every day. Like, it's the same reason you could be a good DJ is the same reason you could try to be good at life. It's just, life is just all about peaks and valleys, and enjoying both.
Right.
Did I get really deep on there for you?
Yeah, I appreciated that. I feel like there's a certain level that I kind of understand too, is where a personal preference and the trends of today, you know what I'm saying? Like what you like and what other people like may not be the same, and not everyone's going to like the same songs. That's what my kind of.
No, that's fine.
Right. Switching gears a little bit to your entrepreneurship, side, what would you say? Would you say that being a DJ helped you to become a successful entrepreneur?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I've self-managed my DJ career since I was in the dorm room, so like, I've always known how to build my brand and build a business around my brand, and then build other things around that. And, a lot of them fail, but some of them don't, right? You just figure it out and course correct. And now I'm trying to take that same logic and that same mind state and apply it to other people's things. And it's going really well.
You talk about that course correct and that versatility in your, what makes a man. I watched that. That was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the data thing. Yeah. That was cool.
What has this whole experience been like, traveling all around the world, going to A-list parties and doing what you like? Talk about that.
Well, for starters, having not been on a plane in a year, it's everything I ever took for granted on it. It's going to completely feel more amazing this fall, right? Because I just I used to know every airport bathroom in the country. I had like a favorite urinal in Salt Lake City, and that was like literally, it was crazy to me. And I haven't been set foot in an airport in a year, and it's just like, so I can't wait to get back to it. But besides that, it's fun, man. It just makes me realize that it's like a blessing. I was very lucky. I was very lucky that this is how my life turned out, and that I get to do this. It's I'm much more excited now to enjoy the journey of it than enjoy the spoils of it, because having sat out the game for a year now with COVID, like I realized the spoils of it don't really mean anything. The journey is much more fun, and it's going to be really. I'm gonna have a completely different approach to it when I get back to it, because like I've basically been like a full-time dad. Like it's just like I've always been a dad, but it's just like my perception of time and my perception of like how I want my time to go. Now I allow myself to like do all the things I never was able to do, and I don't want to give that shit up, man. Like I like it. I really like the human being side of me that I've learned the last year, and I'm going to bring the other stuff back in, but I'm not going to lose the human that was rebuilt over this last year. And so it'd be interesting to see like how I combine all those and not screw it up.
You talk a little bit about that blessing. How much of a blessing has it been to, watch your son grow up these past, what is it, 5, 6 years?
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Like I'll show you, like, I'm surprised he hasn't come down, like, but I just did another interview right before this, and he comes in, sits on my lap, like, while I'm doing an interview, and like, he's like literally, like, puts on my glasses, puts on my hat, puts on some headphones, starts scratching on my head, tells the guy he's DJing. And I'm just like, A, you just like fucked up this interview, but secondly, that's really cute. Like, that's awesome,
Right.
It's great. He's like my best friend. Like, I just, there's no better words. It's the relationship I always wanted with my dad that I didn't have. And like, he was there, which is, I'm not knocking him, but just, we didn't have that sort of relationship. And like, I'm never not going to have that relationship with my son, like, ever. Like, it's just the best. I've always done everything for him anyways, but like, now to do it with him is even better.
Right. I see that connection, through Instagram, and I think that's something really special you have
Yeah.
going there.
It's like, yeah, people think it's like fake for the gram. That's just not fake. It's
No,
like,
no, I see
it's
it.
inseparable. He's my, it's great, man. I'm just like, he's the greatest thing that ever happened forever.
Talk about your podcast a little bit. What made you start that?
I had the time. I never had the time before. Had the time. So I finally did it. I wanted to do some things this year that I didn't really have time to do. And it was fun. We're 2 seasons in, and figuring out the 3rd season right now. And it's just cool. It's nice to show people the personality side of what I do.
Last question I have is talk about your style. Talk about, what types of influences you have, talk about that. Dude, like, I like the type of style you have. Like, is there someone you like look up to for style, or that you get advice, like that get your ideas from, or?
Oh, wow. Thank you. I feel like I've worn this shirt 3 days in a row this week, actually. So it's just, but in normal times. So I had my first in real life gig last Saturday since COVID started. I had a couple like outdoor things, but they were like in the summer when it was like hot, but it was like my first like inside gig that was like, it was only for like 13 people actually, but they were like this really awesome family that rented out this top of a hotel. It was a really beautiful event, but I had to get like normal clothes on, and I haven't really went anywhere outside besides like dinner with my girlfriend, where I had to put on like real, like, I had to look at photo ready, and it was just so weird to me because I was just like, holy, I like opened up my closet, I'm like, what am I supposed to even wear? I was like so out of practice of like things, but my vision, my style is like, I'll tell you this, all the sneakers I bought I don't have the original ones, but like all the ones any sneaker I would have ever bought at Southern Park Mall. I don't know if that's still there. I hope so.
It is.
It was there. I haven't been home. I haven't been to Youngstown in like 2 years, but I'm sure a lot of those things are still there, but any sneaker I ever bought in middle school or high school, I could still wear to this day, because that era of sneakers was like a timeless era. That like 1990 to like 95 era for sneakers. Like, we're talking Jordan, really any Jordan up to Jordan 10, you can still wear it to this day. I always laugh when I see kids thinking they're 12-year-olds thinking they're super cool because they got on some Jordan 7s. And I'm just like, well, we had that like when it was a Jordan 7, like it was like a real thing. It was like, because we're old, but I love the fact that those have stood the test of time. And so for me, that's always been my mindset so I don't wear a lot of logos and brands. I wear a lot of like dark colors. I wear a lot of like muted tones, like stuff that like, and then if I, then I'd rather have like the shoes stand out or like the watch stand out or like I'm bald, so I wear a lot of like hats. But my thing is like, if I'm gonna, and I wasn't always like this. Like when I was in my 20s, I wanted like big logos and all this crazy stuff. And now I'm just like, if I want to get to, I want to like, if I wore the same thing every day for a whole week, I don't even want you to like notice this the same thing every day. You know what I mean? Like I want, or if I had like, I would love my closet to honestly like 7 shirts, and I could just wear them like a uniform, like, and it would all just, everything would just work. Like this would work with this would work with this, and just like pared it completely down to like, everything's classic, everything's timeless, everything works. It could work if I go to the grocery store. It could work if I go to a gala, right? Like I want it to be like that sort of thing. I could wear it to a gig. I could wear it on a date. Like I could wear it like however I want to do it, and really just eliminate the decision making on it, and eliminate the if you have a shirt that you wear it like once and you can't wear it again for like a long time. I got to go like to the back of your closet, like especially if you're like in high school, right? It's a no. You definitely can't do it. People like talk so much shit. You can't do that. As an adult, A, you don't care about that anymore. It doesn't really matter. B, like you just kind of like, like I'd rather, if I'm gonna go buy this $100 shirt, or and you could buy a shirt, you could buy a $4,000 shirt, or you can go to Target and buy like a $20 hoodie. It doesn't really matter. Like you're gonna buy it, but you want it to last, right? So I would rather be like the guy to buy like 7 really nice shirts that I could wear for the next 10 years. They're not gonna get all crappy quality, but also, can you wear it like in 5-10 years? Like, well, what is it, a timeless piece? And that's what the same thing with like now for sneakers, I just pretty much wear like New Balance every day. Like I wear like New Balance 990s, 991s, 92, 990. Like they've been dope since the 70s, or the early 80s. Like they're not gonna not be great. They've been cool since forever. They were cool when the dad shoe trend came back in 2 years ago. They're gonna be cool when the dad shoe trend leaves, which is kind of already left. Like I just try to find things that say that's, and now as an adult, that's my take on furniture. That's my take on like everything. Like if I'm gonna buy something that's not the cheapest thing in the world, just to make it, if I buy something I'm either buying something that's gonna last the rest of my life that I can give to my kid, or I'm buying something knowing it's gonna be disposable and I'm not gonna use it by next month. Like anything else in the middle to me is a waste of money.
Right. I think I can kind of relate this to music. Like a lot of songs that came out maybe the 80s, 70s, still they come back around.
Yeah.
It's so that's kind of how I relate that there too.
No, it's true. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like if something can last 2 or 3 decades, man, like that's timeless, like that's like that. I'd much rather, I think that's a great analogy. That's great. I'm glad you thought of that.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I hope, as things open up, you go more places and you get back to, your old DJing ways, and
I can't wait.
have a lot of fun, and hope you continue being that good dad you are.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's my Youngstown roots that enable me to do all of this. And shout out to Warren, and I shout out to Handel's Ice Cream. I miss that. Ice cream ever still. That was my favorite shit growing up out there. Like I get the vanilla. My sister would they had grape, which I always thought was weird. They have grape ice cream. I always thought it was pretty gnarly, but like, yeah, man, it's just like, what else did Youngstown have? It was like something in Warren. What else? I'm trying to think what else did I grow up eating?
Sunrise, maybe? I don't know.
What is it?
Sunrise? You ever heard of Sunrise?
Oh, what is that?
It's like pizza.
It's a pizza? Okay. I don't know. Whatever. Either way, like, yeah. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy all those things that are unique to our area. It's good stuff.
Well, thank you. Best of luck.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Great to finally meet you. Glad we got to do this.
You too. Take care.